Hey everybody, it's Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. And hopefully you know by now that we have started our subscription-based model where we have original content, bonus content, get invites to special events. So right now it's $2.99 a month, and as of January 1st, 2025, it's going to go up to $19.99 a month. So go to edupexperience.com, edupexperience.com, look for subscribe now to lock in that lifetime EdUp Experience founders rate. $2.99 a month, edupexperience.com. Look for subscribe.
Attention.
Registration is now open for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education 2024 Annual Conference, Protecting the Future, Champions for Higher Education, December 11th through 13th, 2024 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out. Register today at msche.org/annual-conference or head to msche.org and click on the conference link. I'll see you there.
Now listen up.
Because Insights EDU 2025 is coming, and this is the conference you don't want to miss. Meet us February 12th through 14th in New Orleans for one of our favorite higher education marketing and enrollment management events of the year. Imagine 3 days packed with actionable insights and the latest innovations in higher ed. We're talking top industry experts, real-world case studies, and hands-on workshops designed to help you grow your programs, boost engagement, and elevate your student experience. This is your chance to hear the latest higher ed trends from speakers at Google, Reddit, Meta, MIQ Digital, and schools across the country. Mark your calendars, get your team, and get ready to welcome the era of the modern learner at Insights EDU 2025. Register now at insightsedu.com and secure your spot. We'll see you there.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is Dr. Joe Solucio back with you on another. I've done a lot of these, so I'll keep saying that thing. I say that actually in my sleep now, back for another episode. But I will continue to come back. And the reason I continue to do these episodes, and as we approach 1,000 episodes recorded and published, is because there are still many stories to tell about the great things happening in higher education, including teaching and learning, business, partnerships, public-private partnerships, enrollment. I mean, there's and the disruptions happening in the industry, because we can't talk about where we're going to go if we don't talk about what's happening to us now. We have to recognize what those disruptions are, and we have to collaborate through those obstacles so we can come out looking good on the other side and continue to serve students. One person that's continuing to serve our audience, if you like the transition there, is somebody that I've had as a co-host. He's actually one, I think, of the original co-hosts. I had this group of maybe 10 people that I pulled on in the first 300 episodes that we did, 400 maybe. And he was I don't know how many of these you've done with me, but it's been probably a year or so. In fact, he's done enough of them that he has his own EdUp co-host mug, which we don't even produce those suckers anymore. So you got to be an old timer to get that. Let's bring him back. Ladies and gentlemen, he's EJS, Eric James Stevens, Dr. Eric James Stevens, now Tulsa resident, ed tech, doing data analytics stuff now, business industry professional. I think I covered it, Eric. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I got that. I think that covers it all. I'm excited to be here. It's been a hot minute since I've been on, and even since I've recorded anything like this in a little bit. So I'm excited to be here, and especially with our guests today, I think it's going to be a lot of.
So just one question, burning question from the audience, of course, is what is currently in your EdUp mug, assuming it is not in the trash? Is it pens or coffee?
Oh, it is markers, my magic
markers.
Yeah. So don't worry, it's up there. It's on my shelf.
All right. Well, as long as it still lives, we appreciate you, Eric. And you were an integral part of getting this podcast together and coordinating some of the introductions. And I'm going to bring in our folks one at a time here. Jennifer Hankins. She's Managing Director of Tulsa Innovation Labs. Jennifer, welcome to an EdUp Mic. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here, and especially Dr. Goodson for allowing us to be here and highlighting our awesome partnership we have with the Tulsa Community College here.
And you might be thinking, who's Dr. Goodson? Because I haven't yet introduced her, but Jennifer gave you a nice teaser. So let's get her in. Dr. Leigh Goodson. She's president and CEO at Tulsa. Community College. I wrote down Tulsa Innovation Labs, Tulsa Community College. It's all blended together. Tulsa Community College. How are you, Leigh? What's going on?
I'm having an amazing day. I'm super excited to be here next to my good friend Jennifer Hankins, who is a great partner with us to help students find their way to a futuristic and sustaining career.
Ooh, I love when people say things like that because it makes the questions start bubbling to the top. Let's start with you, Jennifer. Let's just take a quick step back. Tell us what Tulsa Innovation Labs is. What do you do? Who do you serve?
Yeah, so TIL, we are not TIL, first of all. So setting the record straight
TIL.
from the start, TIL. Tulsa Innovation Labs, we're a tech-led economic development organization. We were pioneered and founded by the George Kaiser Family Foundation, a $5 billion place-based philanthropy right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, historically doing lots of great work around placemaking and community, traditional philanthropic efforts. And when we woke up in January 2020 or so and looked around the economy, especially at that time, really realizing that Tulsa was behind our peers and had an opportunity to really stage an intervention in our economy, one that was more deeply rooted in the innovation economy, because that's where the good jobs are, that's where the opportunities are. And so TIL was formed to identify where we should go in those advanced industries, these tech communities, these tech niches. So that's what we do. Most people kind of know us for the coalition building around a couple of successful builds that EJS, is that what we're going to, or Eric alluded to at the top of the hour. I kind of like a good acronym. I'm an economic developer.
Okay.
So a lot of folks know us for the coalition building around the Build Back Better Regional Challenge, which 2 years ago afforded our community $38.2 million to grow our advanced mobility industry. But most recently in July announced as a tech hub awardee for $51 million and some change to really double down on that original investment 2 years ago to grow an autonomous systems industry. So how do we do that? Workforce intervention, right? Like, it's everything. How do we make sure that more people, more individuals, more communities have access to the jobs that these technologies are creating at a rapid pace? And so that's kind of the synergy between us and TCC, because TCC is the center of that work in our community. So proud partners of, hey, TCC, what should we do together? What does this look like? And of course, Leigh always answers that call and has big ideas and big visions and dreams for that.
I love it. And you just passed over $51 million very lightly, but let's just take a moment here.
Morning.
That's quite a number of dollars to do good, innovative work. And that's congratulations on that. And Leigh, we'll move to you. Tell us about Tulsa Community College. Who do you serve? How do you serve them?
So TCC has been here for 55 years about. We're an urban multi-campus community college with about just north of 20,000 students per academic year. We are almost a minority serving institution. I think that we have about 47% minority students within Tulsa Community College. About a quarter of the graduating seniors in Tulsa County attend TCC first. So we're a large attraction for local students. We have an amazing program called Tulsa Achieves, where if you graduate from high school or homeschool with the same year that you would graduate from a public high school or private high school, and you move straight into Tulsa Community College, it's a promise program where it's a last dollar in scholarship, and we make sure to cover anything that FAFSA dollars or other scholarships don't cover. So it's a great opportunity for all income levels. And we're excited to really be the higher ed anchor of the community as the largest institution.
Amazing.
Now, Eric, you brought this kind of together because you saw this innovation, this partnership in Tulsa, and thought it was compelling and we should tell the story. Why bring all these folks together and then take over? And I mean, you've done this before. I don't need to give you a segue, do I?
No, Jennifer and Leigh, thank you so much for those introductions. And it makes me really excited because people who know me, I really dig innovation and I really love creative thinking and people who want to put things good in the world. And that's one of the reasons why I really love what's happening in Tulsa as a Tulsa resident, right? To kind of to give us a little story. I mean, I was every Wednesday night I'd go and take my kid out and we spend some one-on-one time together. And I saw that TCC was hosting this forum called Tulsa as a Tech Hub. And this was probably about 9-10 months ago now. And I just oh, okay, this is a really cool thing. I can just go and learn and see what's going on and be a fun, different thing to do with my kid. And we sat down at the table and I just started hearing all these amazing things that were happening. At the time we were putting in the application to get that $51 million grant. So there's just a lot of excitement behind that. Talking about, I think the company is called, it's called WindShape, I think is this company that they brought into town that is building a facility that can replicate any weather condition so that any drone that's going to be commercially flown will have been tested in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, even right now, I'm sitting in this, I'm at 36 Degrees North, which is recently rebranded to Gradient, which is this really cool co-working space. And they're going to be closing this down so the NYU campus can move into here. And they're moving into this giant building it's even bigger, that they're going to have even a bigger co-working space in what I think is going to be called Tulsa's Innovation District. There's just so much cool things that are happening. And as an educator, I look at all of that and I say, where is the relationship with the schools? Because that's where a lot of that innovative thinking can happen. There's innovation on the business side, that's where there's dollars that can be spent. There are problems that need to be solved. And then on the education side, there are the people who want to do that cool work and to help with that. And it was encouraging that event was held at TCC. There are so many different relationships that are going on. And so I'm just excited to bring you all both here because I think that what's happening in Tulsa is something that can and should be replicated in other cities and other towns. Because what is happening here is just, it is kind of amazing to watch. And so I thank you both for being here and to saying yes. Took us a few interactions and canceled appointments to get here. But what's happening right now is just really cool to be a part of. And thank you both for your roles in doing that. Thank you.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Need to put a pin in that you brought your kid to that event and found it exciting. So thank you for making our work sound so exciting because I think a lot of times
it is so cool.
We're do people not realize how cool this all is?
How does this go ahead, Eric?
Oh no, one of my very favorite things to say, right, is that Tulsa right now is at the place where Chicago was when Chicago became Chicago. We're in the same demographic, the same split population. And there's just this boom that is about to happen here. And so everything that you're doing is, I think, worth celebrating and worth replicating. So yeah, way to go. So yeah, Joe, cut you off there.
Yeah, I was just going to say how this partnership works. Give us some of the detail. What is it? A training and development partnership? Or is it internships and job placement? Is it tech startup kind of? How does it work? Give us and Jennifer, why don't you start and tell us kind of how things are fashioned?
So, we're just the economic development organization. So our job and role in all of this was to really paint the vision for Tulsa and how not only do we just engage as a community in these industries of the future, but how do we freaking come out and win? And so our job was very quickly to identify where are those industries of the future that Tulsa has not just a right to be in, but a right to win. And so one of those quick and early poppers was advanced air mobility. If you guys know anything about Oklahoma, it's aerospace is the second largest industry. Over 200,000 people in our state work in aerospace. We are building aircraft. We are designing new aircraft. We are building the new software and technologies that are going in them. And that sets us up beautifully for the future of this industry. The incumbent workforce, the incumbent skill sets, and frankly, the cultural passion for this industry already exists here. for us at TIL, that's the recipe for success, right? It's not any fancy, testing laboratory or anything like that. It's the things that already exist in our community that make us so special that are going to propel us into the future. So when we kind of embarked on that, it very quickly became apparent, like, what are the skills that these individuals are going to need, knowing that this industry is changing every day? So the question really was, how do you arm individuals with the skills and the training that they're going to need for the jobs of today, making sure that they also have some tools in their back pocket for what they're going to need when this industry evolves again 2, 3, 5 years down the road. And there's no other partner in our community, one that has the depth and the breadth of Tulsa Community College. But I don't say this lightly. Tulsa Community College is the most innovative community college in the country. And
It is.
a lot of that starts with leadership, because we called up, and I can't not call her Dr. Goodson, but I'm going to try in the podcast in the spirit of congeniality and friendship. But when we call up Leigh and say, hey, we want to do this thing, and it's going to be a totally new model, what do you think? And then she responds, we have that same vision. You don't get any better than that. And so that's really just what it is like TIL trying to bring the industry data, the perspectives of industry, philanthropic support as well together. But really it's, hey, TCC and the ecosystem you exist in and you partner with, what should we do next? And so they're really at the forefront of already thinking about those things and implementing those things.
Leigh, you want to add anything to that?
Sure. I'll be happy to add to that. And one of our first ventures together was our Cyber Skills Academy. Sorry, I've got those Oklahoma frogs in my throat today. But the Cyber Skills Academy, it's a 24-week accelerated training program in cybersecurity. And we have an outside group that teaches that curriculum and then also collaborates with our folks here at Tulsa Community College. And we've had over 120 graduates already. We've got 67 in the current cohort. And I think, Jen, if I'm right, that our placement rate with those students is in the 85-90% range of placement in content relevant positions in Tulsa or in the Tulsa vicinity.
Outstanding.
Well, thank you. So that's one. And then we also just built a brand new cyber lab, and we're already working on how can we take that Cyber Skills Academy and start awarding some credit based on a prior learning assessment model to bring some credit to those students so then they can go in, start an associate's degree in that program. And if they want to transfer to another institution for a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Science Tech in cybersecurity. So that's just one program where we have collaborated with Tulsa Innovation Labs. We've got more coming. We've got some that are kind of in the middle of the works. And there's other tech programs that TCC has, such as advanced manufacturing in some of those areas that are easy for us to collaborate with TIL on, but those aren't quite as large as the Cyber Skills Academy. Jen, did I talk about most of what we've got going on? And then there is a lot with the Tech Hub grant, of course, and that is huge. We are one of 31 communities, and so we're all gearing up, have already geared up, and are in motion with that work.
Yeah, no, I think she captured it beautifully of its, why you heard her talk about cyber and why we're so passionate about cyber is it's underpinning everything. It's the future of industry. You have to be able to know how to keep our critical infrastructure secured. We're an oil and gas town, all these midstream oil and gas companies, and their critical infrastructure and the intel and the things that they're trying to develop here. We certainly don't want new vehicles flying above and around us without Tulsans having the skill set to protect those technologies. So that cybersecurity was like an easy one for us to partner on earlier because the demand is so high.
Right. It's so logical. And the nice thing about that program is it's led us to other programs as well. We're talking about an artificial intelligence program that will be similar to that.
Artificial intelligence.
for our Tech Hub work. And then TCC has some of its own programs that we come into the partnership with. And Jennifer and her team are looking for ways to accelerate those programs just based on bringing some people from out of state in and other partners as we talk about the amazing Tulsa, Oklahoma, and everything that's going on here, which Eric James Stevens talked about at the beginning.
EJS, actually, but that's fine.
Yes, got
We'll
it.
go with EJS today.
Okay.
No, I think that what y'all are doing is just, for lack of a better word, it's innovative. Like I think it's really cool what you're trying to build and what you are building successfully, I would say. I think for the people who are listening to our conversation, who are really interested in the things that we are talking about, if they wanted to try to, like, if we have a local like a local community college, out there in Colorado or something like that, and they want to partner with some of their local communities, like what are some of the steps that you think that they can take to kind of get some of these conversations going? I'm like, Leigh, what are some of the things that they can be doing? And then Jennifer, how can they make that more appealing to folks who are running similar programs in those cities? Let's start with you. What do you think would be?
Yeah, for me, and I learned this from an old mentor of mine, it's all about relationships and it's all about trust, and your reputation as well. We have a really strong reputation for being good collaborators. And I will say, we do say no to some projects because we insist on not taking something on if we don't have the bandwidth for it. So the first thing I do is I'm told by our great partner, George Kaiser Family Foundation, that, hey, we've started, this is years ago, we've started Tulsa Innovation Labs. We want you all to partner with them. Can you get to know them? And some time went by during COVID. And shortly after that, Jen Hankins took over. I call her Jen Hankins. I call her by her first and last name. Jen Hankins, how you doing?
Because if you just say Jen, nobody knows. But you have to say Jen Hankins.
Oh, I have a crazy habit of calling people by their full name. So now that I know EJS is Eric James Stevens, if I see him in person, to give him his side hug, I'll say, hey, Eric James Stevens, how are you? But anyway.
That is awesome.
Love it.
I love it.
Crazy. That's another podcast. But after a while, Jen took over, and then there was just sort of this segue where Jen and I realized, okay, it's time for us to lock elbows and get this figured out. So we sat down a couple times over coffee and then sat by each other at a couple of other convenings, and we were just talking. And then I started talking to my team. I said, here's the expectation. They said, we can go this far right away. We can go further in a year, and we think we can get to everything they want in 36 months. And so I'm fabricating that conversation, but that's an example of kind of how we work inside TCC. We want to look at how can we do something rather than use the word no. And I'd rather say not yet or not now rather than no. So we do a lot of that.
I love that.
Yeah, we do a lot of that analysis inside the college, and we've had to be really careful to not overextend ourselves, because then you get burnout, you lose creativity, and you lose problem-solving capacity.
Yeah. And from our side of the coin, I always want a partner who would rather say, we just don't have the capacity to execute that yet. You never want to enter into a partnership where execution isn't of the utmost importance, and especially the populations that we TIL and Dr. Goodson care about and are serving through our work. You can't take that lightly. These are people's lives. And so you want to build a quality program. You want to make sure there's a job at the end, and you want to make sure that they find a place of belonging in our community long term. And so for us, that is just when values align, right? It's more than just she has 20,000 students and that's an enormous scale. It's how do your values align in the work? So that's kind of where your question to me of how do you make work more appealing? It's always align your partnerships to the values you care about. And then also when you have partners that care so deeply about the future, right? Like it's so easy for educational institutions to like worry about the problem of today and just put the individuals in the classes and the seats and check the box of I've got students in the classroom. But in Tulsa, we've got that real spirit of, well, how do we care about the person beyond the classroom? You know, TCC partners really closely with Madison Strategies Group and, you know, this whole human wraparound support idea that we support enormously. And it's the underpinning of all of our work together is wraparounds. And how do we make sure that humans are okay, that these jobs are accessible, that these trainings are accessible, and that people can see themselves in these careers long term? And so when you can paint that picture for people about how they fit into these equations, that makes it all the simpler.
You know, to get into a little bit of the detail, the really interesting part of a partnership like this and working together, Leigh, from your perspective, is the I don't know, like the difference, the reverse of the model, where if you're in a higher ed institution, you're like, okay, well, what programs are we going to start? And we need some new programs. What's out there? You know, let's look at best practices. You know, should we start this program or that program? And then you generate those programs from your faculty, or somebody brings you an idea based on market forces. What you're kind of saying now is, with this, through this partnership, you've got other eyes on the future going, there's investments in this area, there's investments in that area. Can you help us serve the market by getting students, adults, you know, coming of age students, these skills, and then going back to your faculty and staff saying, this is a program we need to create. It's kind of a reverse of a traditional model that's looking business first, not academic first, to serve the market, right?
Hey everybody, it's Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. And hopefully you know by now that we have started our subscription-based model where we have original content, bonus content, you know, get invites to special events. So right now it's $2.99 a month, and as of January 1st, 2025, it's going to go up to $19.99 a month. So go to edupexperience.com, edupexperience.com, look for subscribe now to lock in that lifetime EdUp Experience founders rate. $2.99 a month, edupexperience.com. Look for subscribe.
Attention.
Registration is now open for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education 2024 Annual Conference, Protecting the Future, Champions for Higher Education, December 11th through 13, 2024 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out. Register today at msche.org/annual-conference. We'll see you there. Mark your calendars now for February 12th through 14th, because this is where we welcome the era of the modern learner and the most anticipated higher education marketing and enrollment management conference of the year. We're headed to New Orleans for Insights EDU 2025. This year's event is packed with speakers from companies like Google, Meta, Reddit, and MIQ Digital, and schools across the country. Ready to learn how AI is transforming the marketing landscape and how to adapt your programs to the preferences and demands of the modern learner? Then Insights EDU 2025 is where you need to be. Register now at insightsedu.com.
It is. It is. We went through, I'm sure you've done several episodes on pathways and probably the pathways movement that we've had going on in community colleges for a while. And we're part of, without doing too much of a plug, we're part of the Unlocking Opportunities program that Aspen and the Community Colleges Research Center are putting on right now. We're in the first cohort of that. And it's really about Community Colleges 3.0, which is not just going to college and completing college, but also having a livable wage after you leave college. And if that means transferring to a university where you'll have a livable wage after the bachelor's, that's okay. But we have to partner with industry to do that. And so we have sort of both ends coming to the middle. We've got our faculty that keep themselves educated on what's going on in their industry. And then we also have the industry partner. I am sorry. We also have the industry partners that are telling us exactly what they need. And sometimes we just bring those two programs together to really start something.
Love it. And Jennifer, from your perspective, and this is a conversation happening all across higher education today, which is, college degrees, the college going process doesn't have as much value to employers as it used to have. Now you're at the front end of this. You're getting dollars or raising dollars. You're hearing from employers. Maybe they want to say, you know what, we're thinking about coming to Tulsa. We're a tech company. We're going to come to Tulsa, but we don't know if there's any workers there. And you just wonder, like the connectors like yourself go, you know what? No need. You don't need higher education. You don't need higher education to do all this stuff. But I think the employers still value higher education. They value that training. And there is some disconnect between what I think employers really are looking for and who can deliver those skills and the general noise around value of a degree. Can you make some sense of it for us?
I wish I could make some sense of it. I can't do that. But what I can tell you is what's true about Tulsa and what we experience. So first, like, we're a pretty industrial community, right? Like I mentioned, maintenance, repair, and overhaul for aerospace industries, legacy oil and gas sector, as well as, like some traditional, financial services and things like that. The fact of the matter is, for our community, it has to be a both and strategy. And I would argue that all communities should always have a both and strategy, right? Like, it's not just about building your local talent pool. You also do have to have a mix of attracting folks in and get that real texture and vibrancy going in your community. What we're focused on, going back to kind of our tech hubs work and the aforementioned Build Back Better, why we love focusing, why we are a tech-led economic development group, is because in the industries that we've chosen to focus on here in the Tulsa region, 50% of those are attainable without formal training. But what people also miss in that mix, though, is that a large part of that is upskilling and reskilling, right? Like, potentially it is people with a degree that maybe is a little outdated. They haven't gone back and gotten some formal training in these new technologies in a while. And so that's why I am passionate that it always has to be a both and strategy, because a lot of times the folks in your community may have those bachelor's degrees that aren't really getting caught in the need for upskill and reskill. And so kind of when we've designed our pathways together with partners like TCCs, of, what she mentioned in the Cyber Skills Center, how do people get their toes wet in an industry? It's really hard to commit to. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to leave the workforce full time and go into a training program. And so Dr. Goodson and our team in that Cyber Skill Center program was, how do we reduce that barrier? How do we make it less painful? How do we de-risk that for people? And that's where that wraparound support comment really comes in, is how do you just build programs that meet people where they are? So both on the human side and on the industry side, knowing especially that in these advanced industries, the job chasm is wide, right? You've got in our fields everything from aerospace engineering to mechanical technicians and electricians, right? That's a big gamut. And so you need it all. And I'm pretty passionate about how do we just as a community wrap our arms around that problem and make it easy for the humans.
I really love this approach that you're both touching on, both Leigh, with this idea of like the 3.0, like there's the student going to have a livable wage. And then also like this idea of like wraparound and serving the human is just utterly refreshing, honestly, to hear a commitment to the student, like saying like, we want to improve the life of this person. And if we can be involved in that, this is how we can be involved. And it's so much less about the end game for TIL or the end game for TCC. It just becomes like, we want to build a stronger community. And I just really think that's a really cool and refreshing approach.
Well, I said both ends to the middle before. I really think that's what Jen and I do. I'm really wanting to put anybody that wants to go to work, I want to help them get to that goal of theirs in whatever industry they are interested in and talented in, or may have an aptitude for. And so we really want to help students get where they want to go. And then Jen and her team really want to make sure that once they get there, they're successful also. And it is a both and. I love how she says that. I use that word exhaustively. My team rolls, they don't roll their eyes because they've come to expect it, but we are always talking about a shortage of skilled workers. I've never been in higher ed where we weren't talking about that, where we said we have an excess number of people in the technical and skilled workforce areas. I haven't ever heard that. Have you, Jen?
Never.
Right. It's kind of like saying, lots of things, right? Said nobody ever. And so we just want to work together to get Tulsa the workers they need and to get students the jobs they need. And it sounds like it would organically happen, but we all know it doesn't, which is why there are more higher ed employees than just faculty, because the whole infrastructure matters.
What's the Leigh? What's the trends been in enrollment or just like serving the population, right? Because you guys are speaking, all three of you reside in Tulsa, speaking as Tulsa is hot. It's hot right now. Innovation's coming. They've had state-run programs to get people to move to Tulsa. I think that's been working. Is it putting pressure on your, I'm getting whatever you had now right through the microphone.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I would throw you some cough drop or some of these candies I have that are making.
I'm telling you, it's like yawning. It's like contagious.
I know.
But do you have like lots of people going, okay, we need more. We need these programs. We need those programs. And you're going, you know what? We're measured in a
constant conversation. We're measuring it. We're talking about it. It's constant. I had an employer one time say, it was in one of the health fields, say, we can employ as many, I'm going to make this up because I don't remember, as many rad tech students as you can graduate. And we have to go back and run the numbers and make sure if we're going to either start that program or expand it, then they're employable afterwards and that's a living wage. That's also how we've decided to stop some programs. When we went through the Pathways program, we had students that couldn't go out and make a living wage. So we make program decisions based on that. If there's a huge community need and they can't make a living wage, we need to see some data that says overwhelmingly this is a second family income or something like that so that we can justify it. And for those programs, we also have to subsidize them. We try to get subsidies, either scholarships and stipends, so they don't graduate with student debt. I think I'm on a tangent, Joe, but it's just so organic the way it works. And while Jen and her team are really focused on technology, there are a lot of other areas that we're also focused on. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and the need, it's about need, right? It's about fulfilling the needs of the community. You're a community college. The community evolves, and therefore
constantly
everybody wants something from the community college. You could offer 100 million programs and skills, and it doesn't mean that first of all, it's not completely scalable to do every skill, right? So you have to pick where, Wayne Gretzky, right? Skate to where the puck is headed. Where is the puck headed 5 years from now, 10 years from now? It's very hard to see that sometimes because technology is moving so fast. I mean, if you think about this, coding was like a big deal. Like, we're going to teach kids coding in elementary school. This is like 2022, right? And then all of a sudden, 2023 comes around. It's like, oh, AI can code for you. Coding just was a thing, and then it wasn't in a matter of a month. And how do you think about the future? But both of you, how do you think about where to skate right now?
Yeah. Do you want me to take it first, swing it like industry?
I'm just going to kind of add one thing. It's so much easier with a partner.
Yeah.
It's so much easier with a partner because here's what happens. Like the cyber skills program that we have together, they came to us at first. We knew we were going to start something in cyber They came to us, said, it's a non-credit program. Can we put it through continuing ed, which we do. They pay the tuition for the student. We handle the application process and all that. And then we get to start the program, watch the students and how they do, keep an eye on the industry at how it evolves before we go through that long, arduous process of making it a credit-bearing program. And in the meantime, try to get some PLA so it jumpstarts those students that already did that. So that's just one example. Jen, you want to finish, keep going on that?
Yeah, she's exactly right. Like, so a couple of things like TIL, what we did and why people are kind of hopping on this train with us, luckily, is we did that industry analysis. That's exactly what we do. So we, through Build Back Better and then doubling down on it in Tech Hubs, have built this service called the Labor Market Observatory. It's basically mapping like the industry that we want to have deeply rooted and growing here in Tulsa for Tech Hubs. That's autonomous systems, drones, robotics, anything that makes a decision autonomously. And being able to map like, okay, well, we can kind of hope that the puck is going to keep going this direction, knowing, of course, technology does its thing along the way. But what can we do today? And like, what do we have going? And so a lot of folks, when they hear me even talk about like our advanced mobility workforce programs that we started under our Build Back Better grant, it's CNC machining. It's an aerospace technician program. It's mechanical engineering with a little bit of software. I'll call it credentialing, but I know I'm amongst like real educators. And so Leigh can clean me up on that. But that's effectively what we're doing is we're molding and mashing up all the skills and competencies that these individuals are going to need to be successful in the future of the industry, no matter where that puck is going. And so we use that data really intentionally to help kind of map those things out. And just knowing, our knowledge is so finite given markets and things like that. How do we just do the best we can kind of along that? I tell my team a lot, it's like the Candyland journey. It's like you're going to get to this square and you're going to get kicked back like 3, but we at least knew it was there. And so how do we kind of pivot and adjust our programming as necessary along the way? But for us, it's all about just how do we get prepared for these industries when they come to us? Because that's the one thing in Tulsa and communities like us, Eric kind of alluded to, is like markets and the economy kind of happen to us. The boom and the bust of the oil cycle you saw during the pandemic, and even now kind of some tumult happening in the aerospace industries. These are very traumatic things that are happening in our regional economy. And so how do we build a worker shed, a industry base that's a little bit more resilient and responsive to changes over time? And so that's kind of our job in all of this, is to, one, help create that demand for the individuals going through these top-notch, globally competitive programs. How do we create the demand for those jobs locally and regionally, so that people aren't leaving, that individuals aren't leaving with their skills, aren't leaving with the investments we've placed in them, and also investing in industries that have a staying power in our community longer term.
Well, Eric, I'll hand it back to you right now. But the question I got from that is, and I got to pick the right icon, is what is the peppermint on that Candyland board that vaults you through all those steps? What's that? Because Leigh needs it. She needs the peppermint too. So what's the program that launches, right? And I think that's like what we're all trying to figure out is what's that one program that hasn't happened yet that where you don't have to do the Candyland, where you just know that this is coming and simultaneously use it as a cough drop, right? No, but that is something we're all looking to figure out too.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Eric.
I think just to kind of, I feel like just the comments that you're all talking about, to bring it full circle, and just really the moment that I had the idea that we should have this episode, it really is when I was in that Tulsa as a Tech Hub forum at TCC with my kid, and just I was just sitting there and watching y'all just very systematically and strategically walk through your strategy of like, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is the research that we've done in order to procure this. And this is ultimately why it was awarded over other programs. is this idea of like, yes, getting towards the puck and just having that collaboration to work together to say, okay, well, this is my insight. And when we combine that with other experts' insights, we get it's not a perfect prediction, but it's one hell of a strategy. And it's impressive to be able to see that. And to also to do it in a way that can get the community excited about it. Like, I think that's also a cool, like as someone who's just in the community, just roaming around, like it's cool to see all of this happen.
Well, thank you.
Where are you roaming? Roaming around and all, but that is the point, right? You have to energize the community or it doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's the key to it, is how do we even get, like industry is also cultural to people, right? Like if your mom and pop are bankers, are you going to probably go into banking? Or if you have a doctor in the family, you're going to be a doctor. I mean, we're dreaming up entirely new things here. And how do you socialize that and get students and individuals excited to, like I said, if it's, I'm going to quit my full-time job so I can get trained in that thing because it's speaking to me, or if I'm 18 and I'm a young person, how do I think about what do I want to do in 15 years, and how do you even dream that up together?
Like, how about
Leigh was reaching? She was reaching for a comment. I saw. I almost have.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I think one thing I wanted to say is yes to what Jen is saying about, we're exposing Tulsans to careers that, to her point, their parents or they themselves, if they're a non-traditional student, have never heard of or definitely never directly experienced. And you talked about the event at the C4C, and I'm taking just a quick tangent here. There's so many events at the C4C, so I don't know if you've dug into that yet, Eric, but we are the community's college for sure. Community is our middle name, is our third value, and we really live that value of we are who you can depend on, and we will be honest about what we can deliver. And another one of our values is excellence is our culture. So we only take on things that we know we can commit to the excellence. And so that's kind of an umbrella statement about TCC, but our values are really important to us. And that speaks to what Jen was saying about, I feel personally responsible, as does the rest of, I would say most TCC employees, to help people find a career that they enjoy and can change, either support their family or even better, change the trajectory of their family if the resources were not enough.
That's a fact.
Eric, you were going to say something.
I forgot it because I was listening to the wonderful things that they were saying.
Great.
No, don't apologize. This is really cool. I was, if there was one thing that you could tell someone like who is in a similar position that you're in, who wants to accomplish the things that you are trying to accomplish, like what words of encouragement would you give them?
Who wants to go first?
Jennifer's going to go first. Jen Hankins is going to go first.
That's one of those questions where you're like, somebody jump in before me so I could say, yes, I really like what Jennifer said.
Well, she was thinking and I was thinking. So words of advice, what I've been really happy about with Tulsa is, sometimes you can be in a room and feel like, am I the only one like dreaming crazy, audacious things? And in Tulsa, I don't find that to be true. It's just, how do you all, create that common rallying cry around something, right? Like we can all agree we want a better economy that creates better jobs. And those are so big. And that's really hard to see like yourself in a day-to-day. And I think what we've successfully done here in Tulsa, especially, the last 24 months as a reflection, we've chosen like a thing. And by the way, that thing, just in the tech hubs, 50,000 new jobs over the next 10 years. average wages $7,000 than current regional averages, and over 40% of all of those jobs accessible and obtainable without formal education. And again, like real big emphasis on upskilling and reskilling, and then why Tulsa Community College is so critical in that vision. 20,000 of those net new jobs that we're trying to create being obtained by women and communities or individuals of color. Those are not just audacious goals, but they're reachable and obtainable when everybody's rowing in the same direction. So, word of advice: find your people, like I said, that align to your values. Dream big things and don't be afraid of them. And then, of course, do your research and execute with excellence. And I think that's kind of what we're embodying here in Tulsa, is those three big things for me.
Tough follow-up there, Leigh.
I know. I'm going to do what you suggested. I'm just going to agree with her. No. I guess I'll just expand and reiterate what I said at the very beginning: is relationships matter. Jen and I have to be able to trust each other. You know, it's not like we have to go to lunch every day or vacation with each other or whatever to be able to.
We should add that to our list.
I was going to say, that'd probably be a fun time if you guys
make it together. Yeah. But relationships really matter. And over again, the partnerships that take off are the ones where we set expectations at the beginning and we were able to keep those expectations and keep each other informed all along the way.
We always ask guests what they see for the future of higher education. I don't know that we need to do that, because it seems that the future of higher education is about making sure you have the right partnerships in place. Partnerships as advisors, partnerships as collaborators, and education is a catalyst, whether it's skills-based post-secondary education, formal degree education, and then ultimately going back and doing what you said, Leigh, which is prior learning assessment for those people that want to take those skills and stack it into something else. What a great episode, you guys. Thanks for being here. And Eric, EJS, thanks for being the catalyst, if you will, for this innovative Tulsa Fest. The Tulsa Innovative Fest.
Oh yeah, it's all about innovation down here, and it's really cool to be a part of it and to be able to come out and talk with both of you or all three of you on about this stuff, because it's really cool to be able to see it unfolding. And so and Joe, thank you for hosting us. This has been amazing. Thank you.
Well, we hope you guys had fun. Did you have fun while we got to do this? Was it a good time?
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Because I figure if I suck at the hosting, at least if somebody goes, well, I had fun, then it's at least memorable. Anyway, thank you for being here. Jennifer Hankton, she is Managing Director of Tulsa Innovation Labs, and Dr. Leigh Goodson, President and CEO of Tulsa Community College. And of course, my guest co-host, putting it all together, Eric James Stevens. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd.
Hey everybody, it's Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. And hopefully you know by now that we have started our subscription-based model where we have original content, bonus content, get invites to special events. So right now it's $2.99 a month, and as of January 1st, 2025, it's going to go up to $19.99 a month. So go to edupexperience.com, edupexperience.com, look for subscribe now to lock in that lifetime EdUp Experience founders rate. $2.99 a month, edupexperience.com, look for subscribe.
Attention. Registration is now open for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education 2024 Annual Conference, Protecting the Future, Champions for Higher Education, December 11th through 13th, 2024 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out. Register today at msche.org/annual-conference or head to msche.org and click on the conference link. I'll see you there. Higher ed leaders, ready to level up your marketing and enrollment strategy? Join us at Insights EDU February 12th through 14th in New Orleans. The ultimate higher education marketing and enrollment management conference is here. Take advantage of early bird prices until December 12th. Register now at insightsedu.com. Welcome to the era of the modern learner.